There are so many trade rumors around the National Hockey League that I feel that I just want to take some of these and combine them into one video. So, instead of breaking things up and hurting the YouTube algorithm by uploading too many videos in one span, which I think I've been very guilty of the past few years, let's head over onto Spectors Hockey and talk about some of the latest when it comes to the New York Rangers, the Dallas Stars, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Vancouver Canucks. We've got a bunch of trade stories to go over. Let's dive into them here. Big shout out to Lyle Richardson, who wrote and published this piece. January 1st's edition of Spectors Hockey goes out there and highlights what Vincent Mercogliano wrote about on The Athletic, where he said he believes the biggest mid-season question for the New York Rangers is what they need to do with this core. Buy? Sell? Tread the needle? Let's go out there and read what the article says. They feel the Rangers are at a crossroads. They have a win-now core with 4 players in Artemi Panarin, JT Miller, Mika Zibanejad, and Vinny Trocheck at 32 or older. And they also made Mike Sullivan the league's highest-paid coach. However, this is a club that must get younger, faster, and more skilled, and they have a chance to accelerate that process by the March 6th trade deadline. Artemi Panarin is eligible to become a UFA this summer, and this season could be his last with the Rangers. If so, they should approach him about waiving his no-move clause. They should also consider having conversations with other veterans who still have trade value. The same applies to struggling young players such as Alexis Lafreniere and Brennan Othmann. The article then says that GM Chris Drury will take the same tread-the-needle approach as last season. He'll try to peddle players who no longer fit into the Rangers' plans while trying to add those who can provide immediate help. AKA, let's just retool because we have the talent on the roster. I do find it interesting that Mercogliano labels out these kinds of players as potential trade chips for New York. Artemi Panarin is the big one. He is signed on for just a few more months. But then you also talk about these other guys whose presence is on the team and who could potentially be seen as disappointments. What's the future of Mika Zibanejad? Do you ask JT Miller to waive again? Okay, I don't think JT Miller is going anywhere, but when you think about Artemi Panarin as the big fish free agent to be that he is, he's 34 years old, and all signs indicate that he does not want to take a pay cut this upcoming summer, which makes it a little bit difficult for a team like New York to shell out all the money they can to keep him. Yes, he is a point per game, and yes, he is still pretty good, but is he good enough to take this Rangers team and push them to where it is they want to go? Is it a core issue? Is it a Panarin issue? Are the Rangers good enough to really go down that path this year and contend? I think a lot of us in our brains are saying no. And then you have the conversation on Alexis Lafreniere, a guy who definitely can't be getting any worse in his NHL career, right? We've been talking all this talk about first overall picks from Slavkovsky to Celebrini to Bedard, and a lot of these guys as of late have been phenomenal. The guys at the end of the 2010s have started to suffer a little bit. Jack Hughes isn't producing after coming back from his hand problem, and Alexis Lafreniere is not looking that much better. He's got 20 points in 42 games played this season, on pace for about 39 on the full year, which would be a decline from the previous 2 years that Alexis Lafreniere had. Is a change of scenery necessary? Is this something the Rangers can try to salvage young value out of? Could they look at Lafreniere and say, hey, it's just not working here, he needs a change of scenery, let's send him over to a team that can give us some draft picks or some win-now kind of players, maybe an older, more experienced veteran who has a lot more production under his belt, but he's at the tail end of his career, therefore he can be seen as less valuable than Lafreniere. Lafreniere, I mean, he is only 24 years old. You can make the argument that the best is yet to come, but it's just been so long of this guy in the Rangers organization not doing what he needs to do. Now, let's shift over onto some other trade rumors that were discussed in this article over here. Again, link is in the description if you want to go out there and read it yourself. On The Athletic, Josh Yohei believes Pittsburgh Penguins GM Kyle Dubas is gearing up to make a massive move in 2026, likely during the offseason. The Penguins have their own first-round pick, 2 seconds, and 2/3 in a talent-rich 2026 draft. However, Yohei speculates that not all of those picks will be used by the Penguins in that draft. He also pointed out that they have 16 picks in the top 3 rounds of the next 3 drafts. Some of those picks could be used as a part of a massive trade similar to the Wild's acquisition of Quinn Hughes. The Penguins will also have over $50 million in cap space, giving them plenty of room to land some impactful free agents or swing a blockbuster trade for a star. Haha, double entendre there, my friends. Let's go out there and read what Spector's note goes out there and says. At the bottom, Kyle Dubas could surprise us by signing an RFA star to an offer sheet. Dallas Stars winger Jason Robertson would be the most attractive target if he and the Stars can't agree on a long-term extension. So there you go. Could we see Jason Robertson, of all people, signing an offer sheet? Is that an idea here? Robertson is 26 years old. He's making $7.75 million a year till the end of this season, and that contract expires as an RFA. There is a lot to like out of Jason Robertson, who has totally taken the NHL by storm these last few years. If the Dallas Stars are not willing to pay him, then there might be a reality where he thinks that an offer sheet is the only solution here. They already shelled out a bunch of money for Mikko Rantanen. You could definitely say that Robertson, this season at least, is in that similar production territory. Although, if you wanted to argue age, you wanted to argue foot speed, you want to argue versatility and skill, there are ways that you can get around Jason Robertson not making as much as Mikko Rantanen, but if you head over to the Stars and their overall point production, you'll see these guys at the very top of the list. Rantanen has 56 points in 40 games, Robertson has 48 points in 41 games. There have been games where I think Robertson shows off more value than others. Mikko Rantanen has just been above and beyond amazing, so it's very difficult to discredit either of these two fine gentlemen. But if Pittsburgh decides to toss their hat into the ring and give Jason Robertson a $12 million AAV deal, they want to capitalize on his long-term prosperity because he is younger than Rantanen. Rantanen was drafted 2015. Robertson, I believe he was 2017. Yes, that's correct. So obviously, there's a lot of potential in the long-term future of Jason Robertson. Can we see an offer sheet? Is that possible? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, to end off this video, I wanted to dive into some Vancouver trade talk and what Elliotte Friedman had to say on one of his shows earlier this week. Take a look at this tweet made by NHL Rumor Report on 32 Thoughts, the podcast. Elliotte Friedman spoke about the Jake DeBrusk trade rumors. It took 4.5 years for Philippe Danault to get to the point where he wanted to get traded. Jake DeBrusk is in the 2nd year of his contract. He's still playing. It's not like you're looking and saying the opportunities aren't there. I don't know if we are there yet that a guy like Jake DeBrusk would want out. Now, I know, you can look at this tweet and say, wait a minute, there's nothing really there. It's just a comment about DeBrusk, and it compares him to Philippe Danault. Danault was with LA for a while, and then he wanted to leave. Jake DeBrusk, he's only been in Vancouver 2 years. Can you really say that it's a similar situation? Well, unfortunately for DeBrusk, the guy has gone down a pretty unproductive path with this squad. He's got 17 points in 38 games, on pace for 36 points over an 81-game campaign. And yeah, that 81-game campaign is labeled as such because Jake DeBrusk was healthy scratched earlier in the season. So this is a guy whose value has started to decline, and if he's a part of this team that just continuously loses over and over again, who's to say that he's not going to be interested in leaving and going to another squad? I don't want to say that we're there yet, a la Elliotte Friedman. For Philippe Danault, there were years of frustration built up there. For Jake DeBrusk, he's still technically a top 6 forward on what is one of the worst teams in the league. But still, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all these trade rumors over here, from Jake DeBrusk to Artemi Panarin, Alexis Lafreniere, and a Jason Robertson offer sheet? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.